Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming former Governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee. Former White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Good to see you. And they will be interviewed by a little Elvis situation here, Governor Huckabee.
We'll take it.
They will be interviewed now by American Conservative Union Foundations. Perhaps you're familiar with her. She used to work with Sarah, Mercedes Schlapp.
Hey. Little booger.
There we go.
There we go.
Let's go. Larry got my name wrong. My name is Mercedes Huckabee Schlapp.
I mean, we do kind of look like sisters.
I mean, seriously. And we didn't even work together for 2 years. It was like living together, right, Sarah?
Pretty much, because we worked 20 hours a day, so.
That's right. And then the governor, he was my dad, but he didn't know it. So I knew more about the Huckabees than you can imagine. So I've got some great stories. But first, I want to thank Catherine Limbaugh for being here. It is so special to us. You have been the First Lady of Radio because during this time of mourning, you're leading us to help deal with the loss. So God bless you, God bless your family. We are praying for you, and we appreciate you being here with us. So I want to start with Rush Limbaugh. What impact did he have in your life, Sarah?
Well, I think the impact that Rush had on my life is very similar to most conservatives. He gave us a voice when we felt like we didn't have one. And he spoke words that we needed to hear and paved a way that allowed the rest of us to feel comfortable stepping out and speaking out and being bold because we knew we weren't alone. Because Rush was always going to be there. And usually he was going to take it a step further than we were. So you knew that you weren't going out on a ledge by yourself, that there would always be somebody paving the way ahead of you. I saw that in Rush. I'm also very blessed that I saw that in my dad as well. So to have two people like that to look up to and look forward to, my road's been pretty clear, so I was very blessed in that sense.
Governor.
Well, Rush Limbaugh was the voice of all the people in America that other people looked down on. He was the one who spoke, and he did it boldly. And he also did it with the greatest sense of humor that we've ever seen in the world of commentary. And that was his magic. That was his genius. There's never been another like him. The closest probably has been President Trump. And here's what I would say to you. The reason that I love Rush and I love President Trump is because if you go to any Waffle House in America and you see 4 grown men and they do this, they look around and then they lean into the table and they whisper something to each other at that table at Waffle House, Rush Limbaugh says that on the microphone to 20 million Americans, and President Trump goes in front of 20,000 people at a rally and in front of 300 million Americans, and he says what those guys just said. And it is such an affirmation that the people in Middle America, the folks who stand on concrete floors all day long, lifting heavy things, who feel like they've just been smashed by the elitist, that there's someone speaking for them. And in the case of Rush Limbaugh, and really in the case of President Trump, with such a great sense of humor, and the people who are on the other side, they miss the humor because they don't have any. They got none.
They don't. But you know who's really, really funny and who can interpret President Trump? Sarah.
Don't get me in trouble now, Mercy. I've made it.
It would be Sarah would go out to the press briefing room and say, "This is what the president meant to say." By the way, Jim Acosta's sitting in the overflow room, okay?
I think he got booed out of here a couple days ago.
But we do have great memories at the White House, and I want you to share one of your favorite memories of being with President Trump.
I have so many great memories, and certainly he's one of the most engaging, charismatic people I've ever encountered. I've really never met anyone like him. And people got to see that on stage. But one of the things that they didn't get to see about this president is what a big heart he had. And I got to see that, you got to see that every day. There were some really incredible moments there, but there were also some really difficult moments. And I had a few of those. Most of mine got to be seen by the entire world, whether it was being kicked out of a restaurant, made fun of on a stage. The president in those moments was one of the people to empower me. For anybody that says this is a president who doesn't empower women, hasn't been paying attention. And on one particular occasion, I had a particularly rough week, and I was traveling.
Which one, Sarah? I mean,
it's hard to really narrow down.
January, really.
Okay, maybe they were all particularly hard, but in this one moment, I had just a brutal week. My appearance had been attacked by an LA Times reporter. There had just been a lot of personal attacks that week, and the president could tell that I was down. We were traveling overseas. He was actually walking into a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of Japan. He had a million reasons to be focused on anything but me. And as we were walking in, he stopped and he grabbed me and he said, "Sarah," and he looked me in the eye and he said, "Do not let them get you down.
Yep.
The only reason they attack you is because you're good at your job." He said, "You get out there." He said, "You get out there, you're smart, you're beautiful." And then he used a few colorful words, which I won't repeat because my 8-year-old daughter is here. And he said, "But you don't let those haters get after you." And then he slapped me on the shoulder and he said, "Now get back to work."
That's right.
But that was who this president was. He saw when you needed that extra boost and he gave it to you. And he gave us the confidence to keep fighting, to keep going out there, to keep carrying his message, and to keep fighting for the American people, because he was doing that and he wanted his team out there with him. And he did that every single day, and that was the reason I was able to keep going and keep doing it for more than 2.5 years next to him.
So here on the stage, our theme is America Uncanceled. I want to say you two are probably one of the first victims of the cancel culture. I don't even want to say victims because you all fought back. But Governor, apparently you went from like being a common sense governor, everybody loved you in Arkansas, to a deplorable. How did that happen?
Well, not everybody loves me. I can give you a long list of the people who don't.
The grandchildren, your wife.
I've got a few family members. It's divided even at the family, though. So, look, America's the greatest country on earth. How do you not have an optimistic attitude when you live in this great country? How do you not grow up, as I did, in a little orange brick rent house on 2nd Street in Hope, Arkansas, the first male in my entire family lineage that ever graduated high school? No one ever gave a kid like me a chance. The people, and when Catherine was speaking about Rush and how he spoke for the people that maybe didn't think anybody knew who they were, those are the people like me. And how can you not love this country? How can you not love people who want to put America first? I'm grateful that Donald Trump was president. I hope he will be again. I'm going to be very clear about that, and I'll tell you why. Because in my lifetime, we've never had a president who said, "Here are my promises," and who then turned around and kept every doggone one of them for the betterment of our country. Let me tell you one quick thing that the president said. I was in the White House, mainly to visit Sarah, but he thought I was there to see him. But it was right after he had announced that he was going to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, something that I had been wanting to see happen for decades and believed it ought to happen. And I knew that every foreign leader, most of the Congress, all of the people in the State Department have all told him, "Do not do this. It'll be disastrous. Don't do it."
Yeah.
And I said, Mr. President, everybody was telling you not to do it. You did it anyway. Why? I'll never forget his answer. This is why America needs to appreciate Donald Trump. Here's what he said, very simple. No hand-wringing, no, oh, I wrestled with this, because I don't think he did that. He said, very matter-of-factly, because I said I would, and it was the right thing to do. That is a leader. That is a leader.
Well, Sarah, she wants to take a smile there. Okay, good. Well, you've gone through the administration. You regrouped with the family. We knew that it was a lot of sacrifice that you made. You really just made so much sacrifice during that time to serve the nation. And now you're ready to go back at it again. And we are so proud of you, because it is so tough to go out there and put yourself out there, and you know the attacks are going to come. We'll tell you where to donate, okay? Give me a minute. Let me get to the question. Why are you running?
Because I love this country. And because I have the 3 most amazing kids in the world. Scarlett, who's here with me tonight, who's 8, and my oldest.
Yay, Scarlett! She's a little Sarah, okay? Like, completely. She's totally in charge.
Huck and George, who are 7 and 5. That's right, 8, 7, 5. My youngest was 1.5 when I started at the White House. And I want them to love this country the same way that I do. And they aren't going to if we don't pass down a country that still believes in something, that still stands for freedom, that still fights for what matters, still fights for principle. And if we aren't willing to step out there and do it, we can't complain about what we pass down to our kids. I refuse to do that. I refuse to allow my kids not to grow up in the greatest country on the face of the planet. The radical left wants to fundamentally destroy who we are as a nation, and we're not going to let them.
I'm going to give a shout out to Brian, her husband. You forgot Brian, Sarah.
That's true.
Come on.
Amazing
and he's your
husband.
rock. He really is.
He carries the whole family.
He does, and he really was such a huge support system, not only to Sarah, but even to myself. And you know, Matt, also to you, hon, I love you, because we can't, well.
Kansas boys. We were both smart enough to marry a couple of Kansas boys.
Sorry the Kansas Chiefs just failed in the Super Bowl. That was awful. Governor, I know that faith is such an important part. I know Sarah's life. God only knows we prayed so much in her office. I would carry around my holy water too, which was a little controversial for the evangelicals, but it worked out fine. But, and the rosary. And tell us, in raising your family, in being a public servant, and now being such a strong voice, why is faith such a critical part of your life? And how important is it that we continue to protect the ability to worship, our freedoms to worship?
Whether some people want to admit it or not, our country would never have existed without our understanding that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed not by their government, but by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's our foundation. And Mercy, the bottom line is simply this: a culture has to tune itself to a standard. The standard can't be changing, because then it is not a standard. If you are a musician, you tune your instrument before you play it, and you don't tune it to what you think, feel, or believe. You tune it to something that is forever fixed. And so we tune our culture, our civilization, our country to something that is fixed. We tune it to the faith that is part of our founding. We tune it to our Constitution. We tune it to those institutions that are our foundation. And that's why I hope my children got that growing up, that you cannot have an America without God. You simply cannot have America without God.
So, Sarah, as we're closing up, what is your message to the people of Arkansas? Why should they vote for you? Well, it's a no-brainer, first of all, okay? Like, she's just got to win. But go ahead.
I think there's a couple things, and I want to echo a little bit what my dad was saying. I think the most basic foundation of who we are, for me personally, and one of the things that allowed me to carry through and have the confidence to take on the job as the press secretary was my faith. Having my faith, having my family. I know who I am. I don't need the New York Times or CNN or anyone else to define me. I have a creator who has done that. I will step into that office on day one knowing exactly who I am. I will never apologize for it. I will never stop fighting for it. And I will never stop fighting for the people who believe in those same things.
So let's give a big round of applause to Governor Mike Huckabee and Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders.